President of the Conservation Trust in town. I'm trying to get rid of the job for years, but they don't. Actually, I was on the trail here this morning. I shoveled the whole area. The steps and the platforms and the bridges were pretty slippery. So hopefully they're not that slippery now. We are gathered here not to talk about Caesar, but Stuart Beckley, longtime town planner for East Hampton. He's done a lot of wonderful work over the years, and he's certainly helped the trust with our open space projects. And this was before he left, this was one of his last projects, Pomeroy Meadows. So we thank Stuart.
Back, hiding in the crowd.
He's hiding, as usual. We're going to get him up back here just before we take a walk. He's going to do a ribbon cutting ceremony.
Oh, great.
And he went to special ribbon cutting class. And after a few cuts on the fingers, he got his certificate. Okay, so here's the program today. We're going to give some acknowledgement to all the people who contributed to the making of this trust. Trust trail, and then we're going to have two guest speakers. First will be Mayor Mike, and then Patty Gambrini, and then we'll have the trail dedication. Stuart's going to cut the ribbon, and then we'll be splitting into groups. One group might, if they don't want to do the hard parts, the first part of the trail, and a lot of steps and bridges, they can enter in from this end, Paul Street end, and Garrett Stover will lead, right there. Garrett Stover will lead the people who want to go on the easy trip. All right? And then we, help yourself with refreshments afterwards, and we have donation forms if anybody hasn't donated and wants to. I'm sure after seeing the trail you want to donate something. Okay. A note of history before we start on anything else. This area was owned mostly by the Pomeroy family and the Claps. Pomeroy and Claps are one of a few basic families that have a long history in this area, very well-known names. And that's where actually the Pomeroy Meadows came from. This area was more of a meadow and pasture land than anything else years ago, back in the 1700s. And thanks to the research by Garrett Stover, he came up with this information for us. It was pretty interesting. Okay, I want to do some acknowledgments here. First, Mayor Mike. He's been active all these years in helping the trust. In fact, he was one of the founding fathers, way back in 1982.
Wow.
And so he's going to give us a little spiel in a few minutes. And thanks, Mike, for all your work. And then our second speaker will be Patty Gambrini, a former board member, and she's on a fundraising committee, doing a fine job with that. And she helped to organize this dedication. So, Patty, thanks a lot. With the company who put in the construction, the bridges and the platforms and the steps. And once you see all these steps and bridges and stuff, you'll see how much work it involved. Looking at all this material in there, and the construction is fine. It's really perfect. Heavy duty, sturdy.
Who did that?
Who did that?
Conservation Works.
Are they here?
Yeah, Peter Westover, Dick O'Brien, and Eric Bujo.
Yeah.
Eric, are you here?
Yeah.
Right here.
Okay. Will you come up here for a minute? Eric was helping, at least in the beginning, Eric was helping Dick O'Brien and Peter Westover on construction here, and he came all the way from Leominster. So we appreciate his work, and
And was volunteering.
He's volunteering, yeah.
Oh,
Well, he's now being paid by them. But,
It was my initiation ritual to join something.
we have a little token for you here.
Oh, thank you very much.
This is made up by Marty Klein, our board member, and he's an artist.
Wow. Oh.
Plant that seed over here if you want.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank members of the fundraising committee, Molly, Sue Waltz, Roger Anderson, Marty Klein, Patty Ambry, yeah. Doug, yeah. Doug. Feeling adults today. I got too many names to remember. And he's been off the board for a while, so I don't even remember him. Also want to thank Jessica Allen, our present town planner, who's doing a good job taking over Stuart's job, and she's helped us with this project too. I'm sure she's going to help us with future projects as well. And George Brem, who owns the house right by the bridge on Glendale Street, he owned some of this property here, and he was the one who sold us an easement so we can get through without going through too many gullies and stuff. And so we want to respect his property. He's a great wildlife photographer, and so he doesn't want dogs on the trail if you can help it, because it's going to disturb wildlife. And he's contributed his slides, the wildlife slides, to some of our functions. So great shot. And are there any guests from Mineral Hills Group and the Kestrel Land Trust? We thank you for coming. Hope you'll enjoy the trails. And all donors who actually gave money to this fund or our other fund, Mother Field, Brickyard Brook. We're still raising funds. We've got a long ways to go yet, so just that you know, but we still need funds. And I guess that's about it. I'm going to introduce Mayor Mike, and he'll do a little spiel.
Well, Garrett?
Huh?
Two important ones. Department of Public Works has been gracious for providing the place that you're standing in, which was about 3 feet deep in road detritus. Last but definitely not least, Mr. Garska. Without his cooperation, none of this would have happened.
Oh, that's right. He's one of the few developers who I respect. I did forget one of the more important people here, Garrett Stover. He's done so much work around here. Not only the actual trail work, grubbing out the roots for the, along the trail and the brush and everything, but he also did the legwork and got conservation works in here and everything else. So he's put up boundaries all over the border. You walk in a swamp there and you see a sign up there, and how did that get there? That's Garrett.
That's Garrett.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. First of all, I want to apologize. I'm not going to be able to go on a walk today, as you can probably tell. When Patty first called me, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to come because today's Pearl Harbor Day and we have some events scheduled, but I was able to fit it in, and it worked out very well. I want to say a big thank you to John. I think everybody does. As a founder of this organization, it's quite heartening to see that the trust has been able to continue and has been able to flourish. It has gotten the cooperation from lots of different parts of the community, and really, I think those of us, and I want to recognize Bob Pincus in the crowd. He and I, raise your hand, Bob. Bob and I worked pretty closely together when we first started grubbing the very first parcel of property that the trust ever developed on East Street. So it's nice that there are lots of old faces here, many new ones. Stuart has been really a wonderful asset to our community, and he's a wonderful asset to the community that he currently works for. And I think the cooperation, the public-private cooperation that exists in the community was founded, sponsored by him, sponsored I think by the members of the trust, by the past directors. It's the way we get things done in East Hampton, and it works out really well. And it's wonderful that Dave Garska was so supportive in this project. And these kinds of projects benefit everyone, and so there are good things that happen for everyone when they get involved in these things. And I'm really pleased to be here. I think the trust's effort to try to connect their properties to the neighborhood is a really important part of what you do. And it really does, I think, make a difference in how we in the community view organizations when they try to be a part of the community. And so I really want to compliment the current board for focusing on that and for using that as the impetus for these kinds of projects. And so it's great that there'll be an easy access for folks in the neighborhood, for people actually throughout the community, and to make this a part of the rest of the holdings, because it really does fit into, I think, a bigger picture that maybe we don't see from this side of it, and that's preservation and conservation of the floodplain of the Manhattan River, which is really an important water body here in East Hampton. So I want to thank the members of the trust for that and the board of directors, and I'm going to turn it over to Patty.
Thank you, Mike.
Good morning. Thank you all so much for coming out. What the trust has done here is really inspiring, and you'll see. But it's not unique. And as Mike was talking about the neighborhood connection, there's 465 acres in East Hampton in 16 neighborhoods. So this is yet another example of this work. And I hope this morning that on your walk you'll be inspired but also reminded of just how lucky we are to have the trust working on our behalf. And if you haven't noticed, there's a basket on the table with pledge forms and envelopes. Please take one so that you can support the trust in this season of giving. That would be great. So we're going to divide into 3 groups. Let me ask a question. Are there people who feel like they don't want to do a lot of stairs and bridges and that kind of thing and want to walk on more level ground? An easier walk? Can I have a show of hands? Okay. So Garrett, are you going to go? You going to go from Paul Street, or how are you going to go?
I'll meet people over at the Hampton, and I'll walk over and I'll stand where people should stop. And if we can carpool as much as possible, that'd be great.
Okay. So do people know how to get over to the Hamptons?
Can they follow Garrett around?
Yeah.
My car is.
Oh, he has.
Oh, okay.
Can they go to the end
Andrea,
of
do you
Paul?
want to?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
I'll take us back and then enter from the
Okay.
other way.
And this is a one-time thing. The public access to this property is here at Ranch Avenue and at the end of Paul Street. Once the development is done over there, the entrance at the Hamptons is not public. It's for people who live over there, just so everyone knows and is clear about that. Then the 2 other groups, one will be led by Doug Wheat, right here, raise your hand, and the other by John. And John, do you want to go first?
Sure.
So we're going to just stagger things. If you feel like you need to get on with your Saturday morning quickly. You want to?
No, I said the ribbon cutting.
Oh yeah, we'll do that.
How
but-
long is it?
It's 1 mile. About
Can I
1
ask you a question?
Yeah,
Patty?
sure.
At least these stairways and bridges have railings, just so those who are going the whole gamut, wonderful gamut, know that there are some steep and very narrow and perhaps a little slippery places that don't have railings.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, do use the railings. You're going to
So
need them.
even those following me around to avoid the staircases, there are still, if we go in, there are going to be parts that are tricky for some of you. So
Yeah.
just so you know that.
Yeah, so think about that.
Is there a group of people who want to do a longer hike and some who want to do a shorter one?
Yeah, I mean, I could lead a short hike if people want to do that. But let's start with, so Garrett's going to take a group over to the Hamptons. John will lead a group from here after we do the ribbon cutting. And then Doug will lead another group. So the group that goes with Doug, if you want to just get a sort of a mental sense of half of you, I'm not going to try to divide you in half. But we'll delay for like 5 minutes. and let John's group get a little head, just so we're not all walking at once. So have a little more coffee, a little cider, a little something to eat, and wait 5 minutes, and then you'll be good to go. All right, so John, you want to...
Yeah, okay, before we do the ribbon cutting, I just want to make 2 more announcements. People from the Handens condo over here have been very supportive of our project, and I just want to thank them for their cooperation. Maybe helping them to put in their own dog walking trail.
Yeah. Ooh. That sounds good.
And I also want to thank all the people who actually worked physically over here on the trails. It was a big project, and we put in a lot of hard labor, so I'll thank all these people who did that. Where are you hiding?
Anyone who wants to avoid the staircases, I'll walk back around and we can enter from the other side. You can follow me. Yeah, that's perfect. Oh, after the
Okay, so Dory, here's your big pair of scissors.
I'm gonna make you wait 30 more seconds, if that's okay. For those of you who couldn't see him in the crowd, this is David Garska. I do want to thank all of you for coming, friends, and even, or as importantly, lovers of the outdoors and the outdoors in East Hampton. This is a beautiful property for those who haven't seen it. It's great to see Mr. Pincus, all the founders of the trust, Mr. Mayor-elect hiding in the back. Thanks for coming, Karen. So this is a huge honor for me, and I thank the trust very much. But I hope all recognize that this is a trust work and also a work of the community. This is a very special place here, but also a very special community. And I was very happy to be, very proud to be part of it. So let's go for a walk.
Thank you.
Yay!
Come on in.
All right.
Hi, Dr. Newton.
Really good to see you, Stuart.
Okay.
Good.
How are you?